So this is Team 10's real world startup analysis presentation, and our company is Frontify that we're doing research with. This is Group 10, as I said, with Matthew, Carlos, Janelle, Kendall, Jonathan, Tommy, and Tanner. Some things we're going to cover is what is Frontify and what they are as a company. Go over their business model, their competitors, and capital. Also, look at their strengths and weaknesses as a company. Approximate the revenues, recommendations if we should invest, and the framework used to get the recommendation for investment. And Kendall is going to tell you a little more about the company.
So yeah, a little bit about Frontify. They were founded in 2013, and they're actually a Swiss company headquartered in St. Gallen, Switzerland. They also have expanded and have some offices in New York and Frankfurt, Germany. And according to the webinar which we watched, they have currently 125 plus employees, and they are steadily growing, which they said. And so a little bit about who Frontify is. Frontify is a business-to-business SaaS company, providing all-in-one brand management software for increased brand consistency and clarity, cloud-based efficiency for businesses of all sizes. And SaaS means software as a service, which is a software distribution model in which a third-party provider, being Frontify, provides host applications and makes them available to customers over the internet. And Frontify is designed for companies, agencies, and enterprises of all sizes, which enables them to enhance brand consistency to the stakeholders within and outside the organization. Frontify allows companies to create personalized and customized style guides, which basically explain to them how they should design their brand, logos, and whatnot, and what components and elements they should have in it. And their brand management is described as easy to use and very flexible, according to users. And Frontify also acts as a digital asset management solution, which basically allows them to keep all their brand-related files and information which they have worked on in one simplified area and workflow. So it's really an organizational tool as well. And they take a multi-level and multi-brand approach, which allows Frontify to work with all sorts of multinational organizations. Next, Carlos is going to talk about a little bit about their business model.
Okay, so here's their business model. You can see that they did a monthly and a yearly. I think the monthly is, just to show that if you go for the yearly, it's going to be a lot cheaper, creating kind of a bigger customer switching cost. You can see that they kind of put in a little bit of a freemium model there because they have the free just to get you kind of hooked onto it. But, overall their thing is the SaaS, which is, software as a service. And you can see that between a starter and a team, the price kind of gets pretty big. And me and the group concluded that their leap of faith is that companies are going to want to work with them to create their brand and have them manage their brand, which was, unthought of like 30 years ago. So here's some of their competitors. They have quite a few competitors: Widen Collective, Brand Folder, Lucid Press, Reputation Loop, Binder, Yext, Markham Central Enterprise, Media of LA, Contentino, Outfit, and there's a lot more than that actually. So it's actually a really competitive field. And we were researching these companies, and Lucid Press is actually here. They're stationed in South Jordan, Utah, right? They have between 251 and 500 employees, and their funding round actually got them 114 million. So they're doing really well. So this is a very competitive field. Next, we have Jonathan Rose.
Yeah, so their investment capital was a total of 30.6 million. Their Series B funding was 22.3 million, and a Series of A funding was 8.3 million. This is just the amounts that we know of based off the LinkedIn profile. There's not a lot of information seed around or angel round for investment. This could be higher. Once a company has established a user base, consistent revenue factors are some of the other key performance indicators. They may not opt to Series A funding in order to further optimize its user base and product offerings. Then there's also Series B funding. This is a second round of funding for business through investment, including private equity investors and venture capitalists. The Series B round generally takes place when the company has accomplished certain milestones in developing its business and past the initial stage of a startup. And then Tommy is going to go over some of the strengths and weaknesses.
So some of the strengths and weaknesses Frontify has is that they have a very strong client base. So they have Facebook, which is a social media platform that we all use. They also have Lufthansa, which is a German airline. Let's see, next, Frontify has a very large capital for investment, which means that they have a bunch of money to invest in more things to build their website. Next is ease of access. Many users believe that Frontify is very easy. Things are really simple. Some weaknesses are that there are many competitors, like Carlos said, which distinguish Frontify from the rest. The next thing is, depending on which user uses, they said that things are not as user-friendly. The software is pretty hard to use. Next, we have a limitation of what user can create. Compared to other applications, some of Frontify's ability to create something isn't there when comparing to these other platforms. Next, we have price. Compared to other competitors, Frontify price is pretty pricey, which means for most startups, this can be pretty expensive. Next, we have the customer's review. So based on customer, Frontify has a 4.8 out of 5 stars, which is pretty well comparing to other competitor, which Frontify has the highest review of all. Next, we have Tanner that will go over our revenue.
All right, so Frontify is approximated to have an annual revenue of about 3 million. This is the best information that we can get since it isn't completely public, but the approximation is that they're around 3 million per year right now. And so for our recommendation, we would say that Frontify is credible, and this is reinforced by their strong client base and their very, very positive reviews. They have their $3 million in annual revenue, which is very solid for the stage that they're at. When you compare it to some of their competitors, it may seem kind of small, but they are steadily growing and they seem to be doing better every year. And because of how much their clients love them, I would say that they have a great chance of growing to much higher revenues. They would be a great option as a partner, kind of like what Carlos was saying. They have the freemium option to kind of check them out and see what they can do for you. And if you enjoyed some of the options that they give you, then that's when you can buy into it and get access to their premium features and have more users on the software. So they seem like they would be a great option to try out, because there's not really a lot of risk with their free option. And if we are considering a potential acquisition or investment, their steady growth is a really good sign for a very good return on investment. So the framework that we used to get this recommendation is that we actually sent an email to the Frontify team to request an interview to get more information from them. We've yet to hear back from them, unfortunately. So we did have to kind of dig through online to find a lot of this information. But we did watch their 30-minute webinar that gives a demo of the software and gives us a whole bunch of background information about where they came from and how well they're doing. And so that gave us a lot of useful information to determine this recommendation. We signed up for a free trial to kind of play around with the software and see how well it works. And it seemed very user-friendly, but I do understand some of the issues that some users have with using the software, as it isn't very easy for everyone to pick up and just start running with. But we did a lot of research, obviously with Google, but then we looked through their LinkedIn page, looked at their company website, looked through several different review sites to get opinions from all of their different clients, and watched some videos about them on YouTube and their webinar that they put together promoting the company. So we got a lot of useful information doing all this research, and we feel like we've got a very solid recommendation that they would be great to partner with, because it seems like low risk at first, and they could be a very good potential acquisition or investment because of their steady growth and their growing revenues over the last few years as well. Thank you for watching our real world startup presentation. This is Team 10. Thank you.